Tell me that this does not look like a scone that you would find at your local bakery shop. These are my blueberry scones. Are they gluten-free and low carb? Yes. Could you tell? Never. So I have all of our ingredients laid out. Now, before we get started, make sure that your oven is preheated to 350 degrees because you don't want to get through all of this and then have to wait for your oven. For our dry ingredients, we are going to need, so you should have most of these things on hand, but we have our almond flour, coconut flour. Okay, so before we move on to our wet, let's go ahead and mix in our dry ingredients. I like to mix in the dry first, just so that everything is well incorporated. So let's just go ahead and toss everything in. And just give it a good mix. So that way you have everything well distributed and you don't end up with like little chunks of sweetener. Just gonna set that aside and let's go ahead and do our wet ingredients. For our wet ingredients, I'm using avocado oil for my fat. Now you can use butter, you can use coconut oil, ghee, whatever you typically use for your recipes. I'm just keeping it dairy free, so we're going with avocado oil. So we're just gonna pour this right into our bowl. We have our avocado oil, our almond milk, and if you are not dairy free, you can definitely use a heavy cream or even like half and half. But we're just going to add this right into our bowl. So 1 full egg and 1 egg yolk. So let's just go ahead and, okay, all we need is 1 yolk and 1 full egg. And then we're gonna do a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Okay, so now we're gonna use our little hand mixer and we're just going to mix this all together. Boom. Okay, so now we're just gonna pour in our wet ingredients right into our dry and mix this together. So you can use a spatula or you can just use your hand mixer. I'm gonna use my hand mixer just to make my life easier, but this is going to bring our batter together. So this is the consistency you're looking for. It's not gonna be runny. Yeah, this looks good. As you can tell, it is a little wet, right? Like for us to be able to form this. So we are going to use almond flour to help us out, just like you would regular flour. So after you've dusted your parchment, go ahead and add your batter. It's totally fine. You don't want it to be super sticky. And if you need a little bit more almond flour, then just add a little more, because remember, we still need to cut this. So we're gonna shape it right now. I'm gonna show you how we're gonna shape this and cut it into our scone shapes. So this is what we're looking for. As you can tell, like no more dough on the hands. And that just came from a few rounds of sprinkling some almond flour. So now we're good. I'm gonna go ahead and show you the next step. Now we're gonna use our parchment paper to help us. So I'm just gonna go ahead and flatten it down and get it to a nice thick consistency. Okay, nice. So I went ahead and just flattened it down. Now, if you want it to look really beautiful and like nice and perfect, then you would smooth out the edges. But I actually love like just that rustic look. So I'm gonna leave it as is. We're gonna cut it like a pizza. Perfect. Boom, Gina. We ended up getting 8 scones out of this, which is perfect because this is actually a really good size. If you take a look at that, you can see it's nice and thick, not too big, not too small. I think this is just like a really good size. I do have some beautiful, like huge blueberries, which I feel like are gonna look absolutely perfect on here. So I didn't fold them in. You can definitely fold them into your batter and then like you'll get a little bit inside too. But I think we're gonna just put them on top and kind of go that route. What I'm noticing, guys, is that by putting the blueberries in on top afterwards, you get the crackling on top of the scones that I feel is gonna look so beautiful once they're nice and baked and you get that golden brown color. So my suggestion is if you are gonna put the blueberries, do it like this. Do it at the end. And of course you can still fold it in, but look at how pretty that, oh my gosh. I'm so excited right now. I cannot wait to see how these are gonna turn out. Okay, so our scones are now on our baking sheet. They're ready to go. Before we put them into the oven, I'm just gonna brush them with a little bit of egg white, which is like our little egg wash. And this is just gonna give it that nice golden color. So I'm gonna get the sides, and before I put it into the oven, I'm gonna add a little sweetener that's gonna give it a nice caramelization. So I will show you as soon as I'm done with this. Okay, and now that we have our egg wash, you're just gonna top it with a little extra sweetener on top. And that, as it's baking, it's gonna caramelize on top. Okay, so our scones are all set. Now we're gonna get them into the oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. I'm gonna show you at the 20-minute mark just to see what they look like. But guys, get ready for this because they are gonna turn out perfect. Look at these beauties. Oh my gosh, I knew it. They turned out perfect. You see that rustic look on top? They look so good. Okay, we're gonna set this aside. Let's go ahead and make our glaze. So here we have our powdered allulose, and you can use your sweetener of choice. And now let's go ahead and add in our ingredients. So we have powdered sweetener, organic coconut cream. Give it a good mix just with the coconut cream and the sweetener, because we wanna gauge the thickness. You know, you want it to be nice and thick, not too runny, not too thick. So you're just looking for that perfect consistency. So we're just gonna add a tad bit of our almond milk, because what you want is to be able to kind of like drizzle it over. On our scones. Beauty. Now let's go in for the taste test. Oh, the crunch on the outside already. Wow. I'm so happy. The texture, 10 out of 10. The crumb on top is everything. The inside is nice, and it's almost like a pound cake. It's like the perfect combination, and the taste is a 10 out of 10. This tastes like a real scone. I can't even believe that it's dairy-free, gluten-free, and grain-free, and low carb on top of it all. Guys, you have to try this. Like, if you love scones, you are going to be obsessed with this recipe. I'm gonna leave the recipe in the description below. If you like this video, hit the like button, share with friends and family that are living a low carb lifestyle and that you know would be obsessed with a low carb scone recipe. Guys, thanks so much for being here. I love you, and I will see you on my next video. Mwah.